What's going on, everybody? I know you haven't heard from me for a while. I haven't been posting anything. I've actually got something crazy going on with my hand, so I'm not really able to play guitar all that well right now. And I felt kind of bad because I was really wanting to put something up, and I know a lot of people have been asking when you're going to put some more videos up or whatever. So they are coming. I just have to get some medical advice and stuff first, so please bear with me on that. In the meantime, I didn't want to leave you guys hanging without anything. So, as you can see from my backdrop and my shirt, I'm a huge Metallica fan. It's my favorite band of all time. And I wanted to kind of do something that I've never done before, and that is ranking the albums, ranking their original albums. I know Metallica isn't for everybody. A lot of people just don't care about metal, period. But if you're a metal fan or a hard rock fan, you're probably at least familiar with some of their catalog. They do have an incredible catalog of songs. I'm just going to be focusing on their original music today, so I won't be putting Garage Inc. or any of their collaborations with other artists up. Just their main studio albums. And I'm just kind of doing this off the cuff, so please bear with me. As I recall, there are, I believe, 11 studio albums of Metallica's original music. So we're going to shoot it from 11 to 1. Just how I rank them. Keep in mind, it's just my ranking, and it may change tomorrow. I may change my mind depending on what side of the bed I get up on. But anyways, I'm just going to go through the albums pretty quickly and just kind of rank them overall. Starting with number 11, and this is at the bottom of a lot of people's list. But number 11 for me is Saint Anger. To me, Metallica was in a very difficult transition during this time. They were having a really, James was going back and forth to rehab, and they were dealing with some obstacles creatively and battling a lot of stuff. If you've watched the documentary Some Kind of Monster, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But they were going through a lot as a band, and it kind of shows. And I love the documentary. I kind of wish the album was better that the documentary was ultimately about. The sound quality on Saint Anger, just, I don't know, man. Everybody complains about Lars Ulrich's trash can lid drumming, and I get it. A lot of the songs just didn't seem to have much of a structure, really, compared to a lot of their other albums. And the vocals just weren't quite there. I think they were reaching for something that really they just aren't. I think, like I said before, they were in a transitional period, so I think they were really trying to find out where they are, where they belonged, what kind of music they wanted to make from here on out, which, if you know anything about their past, they've struggled with before. But that notwithstanding, I don't think this album is a complete waste of time. I don't think it's a catastrophe. But the front half is much better than the back half. And there's a couple of the songs on the back half that I just absolutely despise. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this one. So I'm just going to skip right on to number 10. And number 10 is Kill 'Em All for me. I get it. It's Metallica's first album. A lot of people love it. But it's a little too thrashy for me as far as what I'm used to from Metallica. The sound quality, again, it's a lot more treble and not as much bass, not as much depth. It feels like to me. The music is a lot of just really quick thrash and riffs. It's almost like they were just trying to show the world how fast they could play, which is cool. I mean, if that's what you're looking for. But a lot of their songs just didn't seem to me to have as much depth as a lot of the rest of their music. So I do like Hit the Lights. I think that's a cool song. There's some really good song structure in like the Four Horsemen and I don't know, some of their songs on here like Seek and Destroy. I just get so tired of hearing, and I'll repeat that later on as time goes on this video. But Kill 'Em All for me overall is number 10. It's just, I can listen to it, but I don't love it. Number 9, I got to go Death Magnetic on this one. This was the follow-up to Saint Anger, and everybody thought Saint Anger kind of derailed them so far that they were never going to recover. But I think Death Magnetic was worlds better. The sound quality, I'm back and forth on. I think it's almost a little too, what's the word, dampened, maybe? I don't know. But it's got a couple of songs like The Day That Never Comes. I absolutely love that song. My Apocalypse is a really cool end of the record. It's a cool way to end the record. It's really thrashy, really fast, kind of getting back to their roots a little bit on that one. But some of their stuff is underrated on here. Like there's a song called "The Judas Kiss" that gets a lot of hate for some reason, and I really like that song. I think it's really, really cool. But again, another overplayed song from here is "Cyanide." They play it at a lot of concerts, and I've never really dug that song all that much. So I don't know. Overall, it's okay. Death Magnetic coming in at number 9. Number 8 is Reload. During the mid-90s, Metallica was going through another phase where they seemed to be the butt of a lot of jokes. They cut their hair, they changed their images, they started doing more hard rock and even some southern rock and even some country stuff a little bit, country sounding stuff like outlaw country a little bit, some bluesier stuff. It was like the Load and Reload were very experimental albums, and I think Reload was the lesser of the two. But that's not to say that it's not great. If it hadn't been for the radio just overplaying some of these songs, I think a lot more people would feel differently about them. But Reload for me, it's a step down from Load, but it's a good step. I still enjoy the ride. And songs that appeal to me now, like back then I didn't appreciate as much. Like for instance, there's a song called "Where the Wild Things Are," and to me, like back in the day, I always just dismissed that song and I didn't really care about it. But now I dig it. Same with the end of the album song "Fixer." It's got just a really, really melancholy feel to it. It's just really, really deep and a little dark and a cool way to end the album. So, it's funny as you age, you see things differently a little bit. I've certainly aged since I bought this album. I was still transitioning from cassettes to CDs. I refused to make the jump for the longest time because I just didn't like spending the extra money. I was a tightwad. I didn't have much money, still don't, but didn't have a lot of money to spend on things like that. And I remember buying Reload and riding home and playing it in my boombox with my earphones with my parents. I was riding home with my parents, and the boombox eats my tape. And I was like, that's it. I'm done with cassettes. This was the last cassette that I ever bought. So this was the jumping point. So the very next week when I got my next allowance money, I went and bought Reload on CD. So kind of a fun story there. So we're going to move right on to number 7. And this is going to be kind of a hot take for a lot of Metallica hardcore fans. And that's Ride the Lightning. The reason I put it here is not, I think it's definitely an improvement from Kill 'Em All. But there's a couple of songs on here that I absolutely love. And then there's some others that I'm just like, I've never just been a fan of. Like, I can appreciate the musicianship and I can appreciate the sound quality and the message of the songs and things like that. But just on the whole, there's just a couple of songs like "For Whom the Bell Tolls" has one of the greatest intros of all of Metallica's catalog. It's just a fantastic intro. Very simple song, but the intro is just really what makes that song great. And "Creeping Death" is just a fun song. I don't think they live up to the hype of it now with their live performances of it, but the studio version of "Creeping Death" is fantastic. And "The Call of Cthulhu" is a great instrumental to close out the album. So, yeah, I like Ride the Lightning. There's the songs on it that I really like, I love. But again, the rest of the album just, I don't know, it's not enough to boost it up to the halfway point for me. So it sits right there at number 7. Number 6 is Load. This one has 14 tracks on it. And that may be a lot for some people, but to me, there were several tracks on here that were just really, really good at the beginning. And then there's others that are just like really, it's a grower, like grower tracks that just grow on you. Like the singles like "King Nothing" it's got a really cool, like kind of a blues riff to it. "Until It Sleeps" is just, that was one that everybody heard on the radio. "Bleeding Me" is popular. But then they did songs like Mama Said, which is like a country song. And it's even got the video. James Hetfield's got his little cowboy hat on and all that. I mean, it's just a really, really cool song. But then you got songs like, again, this was another one that had an album, or that had a song at the end of the album that grew on me. And The Outlaw Torn is that song. And I never appreciated it up until just a few years ago. And I really got into it and really enjoy that song. So Load sits right here at number 6. Number 5, I got to put 72 Seasons, and at the time of recording this is their latest studio album, and I really like 72 Seasons. This one to me, again, it's about half and half, but the half that I love is just bangers, man. Like Screaming Suicide is just a fantastic song, and 72 Seasons, the title track. Shadows Follows, really cool rocking song. Lux Eterna, it's a really cool, 3-minute, riff, basically. It's just a really fast-moving thrash song. And there's a couple on here that people kind of hate on or dismiss. There's one called If Darkness Had a Sun. That's just, maybe people think it's a little too long, but I just love the groove to it, the repetition to it. It gets me in the mood of the song and what the painting that it's giving us. I love the picture that it's painting us. And then there's a song called Crown of Barbed Wire, which the video is weird, but I love the song. The song to me has just got a really cool bluesy sound to it, man. And I just dig that. And at the very end, there's a song called Inamorata, which is just like I believe it's their longest track to date. I think it's somewhere around 12 minutes, which is insane. But it's actually just really, really good. It's competently made, and you can tell that they're growing. That they've been at it for over 40 years, and yet I still feel like they're just growing as artists. Like your journey's never done. As long as you're creating music, your journey's never done. And I think this kind of exemplifies that. So we're going to go into number 4, which is Hardwired to Self-Destruct. This song is the double disc album that you guys, I'm sure if you're fans, it's a funny thing about this album. There's like 2 or 3 songs on the disc 2 that I absolutely love, and almost all of disc 1 I absolutely love. But here's the deal, okay? So there's 6 tracks on each of these discs, right? On disc 1 and disc 2, both have 6 tracks. The closing track on disc 1 is Halo on Fire. And to me, it has probably the best outro that Metallica's ever done. To me, it's my favorite outro that Metallica has ever done. And then disc 2 closes out with Spit Out the Bone. And it has the best outro that Metallica's ever done, in my opinion. I'm sorry, intro. The best intro. Halo on Fire's got a great outro. And Spit Out the Bone's got a great intro. But I love Spit Out the Bone because it's like a musical journey. It's just like up and down, and it's just full of this riff and that riff. And this, we're going to thrash a while, and then we're going to groove a while. But it just never stops punching. And that, to me, just proves that Metallica still got it. They still can bang. They still can rock it out, man. And these tracks on here, like even the ones that you hear, like Hardwired and Moth and the Flame, and the ones that you hear on the radio all the time, they're still good, really good songs. But I think a lot of times the ones that get overshadowed are even better. Like Dream No More. To me, that song is just awesome, man. It just sets a mood. It's got this really slow kind of a groove to it, but I dig it. And one of my absolute favorites is called Man Unkind. And it's just the message that it tells. It's just, it makes you think. And like the song structure is so different. The rhythm is so different, so unique. It kind of reminds me of Soundgarden or something a little bit, the way that the rhythm is set up. And I just love that song. It just took a lot of creativity to create that. And I'm so glad that these guys are still creating music, because these guys, I love the way they think. You can tell when James has put his influence on the writing process. Not to knock the other guys, but I'm saying clearly James has a certain thing that he writes, a certain way that he writes. I know what he writes about. I can relate to it. And these guys they just keep creating music that I absolutely love. And as of right now, as long as they're still creating music, I will continue to support them until something crazy happens. All right? So Yeah, I hate that come back and bite me in the butt. Anyway, all right. My number 3 is the Black Album. Their self-titled Metallica album, known as the Black Album, has probably the most singles on it. Has a lot of their most famous hits on it, like Enter Sandman and Sad But True and The Unforgiven and Nothing Else Matters and Wherever I May Roam. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. And like, this is one that has been so overplayed that I get a little tired of some of them. Like Enter Sandman gets played so much, I'm just like, oh, play something else, you know. But the whole album as a whole just really kicks, man. It's the first time Metallica really transitioned from heavy metal to hard rock and kind of moving in that direction, but not losing the metal edge, but just, you know, doing a little bit different, you know. More of a mainstream sound. This was their first really mainstream album, and you know, a lot of people didn't like it, a lot of people did, but I believe it's still their best selling to this date. So I really like the Black Album. I think it was the reason it put them on the map. And I'm not to say they weren't on the map before, but it really boosted Metallica. Once they hit the Black Album status, man, they were on it. All right, we're into the top 2. And my number 2 is Injustice for All. Now, sound quality. There's infamous things that went on with the sound quality in creating this album, and I'm not going to get into that. Most Metallica fans know what I'm talking about. But Injustice for All has some of the deepest songs as far as the lyrical content. What story is it painting? What is it telling us? And to me, it's just very rich in the lyrics, and again, there's the musical aspect of it, the melodies and the riffs and everything, the harmonies, and they really meld well together, and they tell a story on their own, just with the instruments. One is my favorite song of all time, not just my favorite Metallica song, but it's my favorite song of all time, and you know, it's number 4 on this album. It's right in the middle of this album. And I love the song that follows it, The Shortest Straw. Blackened has a great intro and just a great message. And Justice for All, the title track, you know, and Dyer's Eve that closes out the album. Just songs that, you know, I didn't really pay as much attention to because they weren't as commercial. They weren't as in your face as some of the rest of the stuff when I first became a fan. Have totally grown on me throughout time. And Justice for All will always hold a special place in my heart. It is my number 2 on this list. My number 2 Metallica album of all time. And of course, process of elimination. My number 1 is Master of Puppets. Master of Puppets is not only my favorite Metallica album, it is my favorite album of all time. 8 tracks, very to the point. Master of Puppets, the title track, is fantastic. I love this track. I love Battery. I love Disposable Heroes, Damage Incorporated. Orion is such a rich, just the way that the song is put together. It's just every song on here tells its own story, but it's cohesive. You don't get one extreme sound and then another extreme sound. Everything is, you know, it's cohesive. They're painting a picture, and there's 8 pieces of it, and it completes the whole picture. And Master Puppets to me is an actual masterpiece. I love this album, and it will forever be, and unless something insane happens, Master Puppets will forever be my favorite album. And it is my number 1 Metallica album of all time, my number 1 band of all time. I thank you guys for listening to me today. Share it down in the comments section. What's your favorite Metallica album? Rank yours if you want to. I'll read all the comments. If you hate Metallica, I'm sorry. Sorry you watched this video. If you love Metallica, share your love down below. Hit that thumbs up button. Hit that subscribe button. And I'll try to keep you guys posted with some content as often as possible. Sorry again about the music delay. I got to get this thing worked on. But anyways, appreciate it, guys, and I'll see you soon. Take care.